All right. So happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
We'll see who else jumps on, but
It's a special.
just special, yeah, special little group tonight. So I was thinking about like the title of the call was why 2022 is our year for growth, and there's a lot of reasons for that. One, I would say being involved with Integrity Marketing Group for sure. Basically, we just automatically have more cash, more resources, more people to call on. So there's just more, right? Which helps us focus on what produces revenue, right? Which is selling and recruiting and teaching others how to sell. It's pretty simple. And so I was thinking about that and I was like, how, because sometimes it feels complicated or feels difficult from time to time, but it's really as complicated as we make it out to be, right? There's 10 numbers and 7 colors in the universe. I think humans complicate things most of the time when you put it that way. So it's a simple business at the end of the day. So I was thinking back, and really our goal is to help the team get to where you want to go, right? So like when I joined the business, I just wanted to make extra money to pay my student loans. I was not planning to do the business full time. That's just where I was at. So really at the end of the day, you just want to pour the energy into how do I grow from where I'm at, right? Whether that's I'm doing this 1 day a week, whether I'm doing it 40 hours, whether I'm doing it 60 hours, whatever. How can I grow from where I'm at? At the end of the day, it comes down to scheduling appointments with people, right? Yes, you need training for sure. So you need to be confident in what you're doing. But I want to tell you a story to start there. So going into the year, this is how I see training, and I have looked at it since I started, really. So like we all learned how to ride a bike, right? Growing up. How do we learn how to ride a bike? We fell down a few times.
Knocked out my front tooth.
Yeah. We put training wheels on and then we took them off, right? But ultimately we fell down a little bit and figured out how to ride a bike. So going into the year, I know with new people, so I mean, Mike's really the only new person on the call tonight. But so like for you specifically, Mike, like there's just whatever your goals are for the business, whether it's just to make extra income, I mean, whatever, there's 2 ways to do it. You can go work leads, which is great. You can buy leads that families have requested help from, and we can teach you how to work those. There's going to be a learning curve, obviously, right? Because it's something, even when I started, I hadn't done before. So there's a learning curve. And if you want to write this down, I think that would be good too. But despite the learning curve, there's always going to be a principle that remains regardless if you're brand new or you're really good and you've been here for 20 years, 10 years, whatever. If you book 3 appointments, you're going to sit with 2 of them. So that means one of them is not going to show up. And then out of the 2 you sit with, you're going to help one of them or you're going to sell one. All right. That's a nationwide number that's very conservative. The better you get at the business, obviously, you're going to be able to close more, right? But you can always count on that being true, whether you're working leads or you're doing fast start programs. So that's the second one I want to bring up to you guys. And that's something me me and Megan are going to do for newer people, specifically newer people on our team. I haven't figured out how it's going to look for newer people outside of that. But if you want to do the Fast Start program, all it is you're scheduling appointments with people that you already know. And you're just saying, hey, I'm new. I'm going to be training. Someone who is experienced is going to be there with me. It's probably going to be virtual, like on a Zoom call. And you're going to say, hey, we're not here to sell you anything. Like, I'm new at this and I need to learn. Just like riding a bike. You need to be in an appointment listening to one of us talk to someone who already has a policy. Again, our goal is not to sell them something. Now, if they ask or we have something that might benefit them, great, if there's value there. But the purpose is to make sure that you're trained. So I really want to make that clear. Like for newer people, you can start with leads or you can start with Fast Start. You're probably going to make more money quicker if you do Fast Start, and you're probably going to learn more, because when we do that, we're just going to tell your network of people, hey, your only job is just to ask Jonathan or Megan a ton of questions, like as many questions as you possibly can ask them about insurance or financial products, because we have a registered advisory firm that helps people with retirement. So that's literally all we're going to tell them to do is like ask as many questions. And what's going to happen is, and specifically for you, Mike, you're going to learn so much from these questions that those people are asking us. Most people have a policy somewhere, whether it's through work or private. Some people don't, but it's going to train you a lot faster than buying a bunch of leads and getting out there and messing up, if that makes sense. Okay. So, and then the 3-2-1 thing is like, if you want to increase it, you just go to 6. So if you set 6 appointments, you're going to sit with 4 of them. 2 of them are going to show up. You'll sit with the remaining 4. And out of those 4, you'll help 2. So, I mean, the cool thing about the business is it's mathematical, and it always has been. It's not going to change. It's numbers. So you can always have hope in that, because even when I look back to when I started and I was terrible, I was closing about this average number, sometimes worse, like 1 out of 5. Just fine, but I ran enough appointments to make, the money that I was wanting to make, and then I got better, right? So like what we forget is when we get better, it's a compounding effect. So it's not like next week we're now compounded versus what we did last week. It's not a linear growth process, if that makes sense. It's compounding. So the stuff you learned this week, now you're taking into next week with new people that you're not going to make the same mistakes on. So instead of it being linear, it's compounding effect. If that makes any sense at all, hopefully. And really the business, revolves around the basics. Like anything in life, like I grew up playing sports. I don't know, if you play musical instruments, there's basics to it. Like playing the drums growing up, there's basics to playing the drums. There's the regular 4 set beat. You can do a 3-4 beat, a 4-3 beat, 2-4, right, Mike? Mike knows. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but the basic is consistent throughout. Same in the business. So, and you can write this down too. Really, our main when we're meeting with people, our main focus is to pick up a check. So our focus is to help them. So if we schedule an appointment, we're there to help them with some type of plan. We have plenty of them. Our job is to find where there's value by asking questions and then help them out and pick up a check. You can name it whatever you want, but that's the number 1 goal. 2 would be to ask for them for referrals, right? Because think about the business that you do with other people, right? You typically are going to do business with somebody like if my friend said, hey, like when we bought this house, Isaac said, hey, my neighbor wants to sell our house. You might be interested. So there was already trust there because I already knew Isaac, and that was kind of like a referral, right? It's the same in our business. If we're not asking, we're stepping over thousands of dollars to help other people. And people want to work with someone they know has already helped, right? So that's number 2, getting referrals. 3 is finding safe money or asking about retirement. Would be 3. So like, hey, we have literally registered advisory firm that's there for a reason, that actually manages millions of dollars currently through TD Ameritrade and another company called Revisor. What's it called? Revisor.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it's a back office support. So all we're doing is saying, hey, this is what we also do. We help people with retirement. We help them save on fees, or we help them guarantee they're not going to lose money when they're about to retire. We do free consultation. Is that something you're interested in? People are going to say yes or no. And that's all you have to do. If they say yes, you just schedule a time with one of us or Chris, and we take care of the rest. And you're going to learn through that process. You don't have to know much about the products. You just have to know who do I need to talk to, right? And then take good notes while you're doing it. And then the 4th would be share the opportunity with people. So like with integrity, like there's counties in Texas right now that we could produce thousands of leads in, but we're not producing any because we don't have the agent force to handle it. Like just north of Houston, Montgomery, Madisonville, all those cities up there, Huntsville, like if there were agents taking leads there, we could produce tons there. That's just Texas, right? So again, we're just asking people like, hey, we can produce requests here. Like we need help. Would you be interested in doing this part-time? Are you looking for extra income? Whatever. If they say no, it's fine. But you don't know until you ask, right? Like I wouldn't have been in the business if my friend Mike never asked me multiple times. Like, hey, I think you'd be good. You should just check it out. And I was like, sure. Well, now my life, if I didn't say yes, my life would be, I don't know how much different, but definitely different. I wouldn't be traveling places or making the amount of money I am for sure if I was still at Walmart. It would have taken me a lot longer based on that corporate ladder, scale structure, salary. So that's been what's on my heart, just the basics of it. And now that we have more resources, how we can really just focus on that stuff. Because ultimately, like the sales produce revenue, right? We're in business. The first rule is to stay in business. So at the end of the day, like we need this, the sales have to be there for there to be revenue. And the more we can not have to think about the other stuff and think about just how can I schedule multiple appointments every week and talk to people about this, right? The more money you're going to make, the happier the clients are going to be, and the faster you're going to learn. Yes, the detailed stuff needs to get done. It's a huge business. There's other things that do have to get done and get tracked, but now we have more help to do that than we previously did it before integrity. So I'm excited because you can literally just scale it up, like the 3-2-1 thing. You can multiply it however many times you want to multiply it. I've multiplied it to 30 appointments per week for me. So today I booked 11 appointments in the office. So I still need 4 more because my goal is to do 15 per dial day. So 15 Monday, 15 Thursday. And I'm going to do it because I've made a commitment. I've told a bunch of people about it. But for me, that's the number. I mean, you could scale it higher, but 30 for me to produce what I want to produce and then invest in other people, that's my number. Right? Your number's your number. We can help you with that for sure. But yeah. And then I wanted to show, before we take any questions, I wanted to show this.
Yeah, you're also co-host, Jonathan. If you wanted to share it, you can do that too.
Yeah, I need to email it over to myself real quick. But basically, we're in business to make a profit, obviously. And one thing I loved about this business that I really hadn't found anywhere else was like I could promote myself directly based on my work ethic. It wasn't dependent on anybody else. It wasn't dependent on me waiting for Mike to approve anything. It wasn't me waiting for the CEO to decide that they were going to give me a raise. It was literally numbers and literally my schedule and how fast I wanted to give myself a raise. I liked that a lot. And so we put this together for that reason. And this is specifically for newer people. But it also applies to us who are, been here a while as well. Because there's promotion charts. It's almost up. Hold on. Here we go. This will work. All right. Share screen. Right, Mike? Where's it at? There it is. Got it. All right. Can everybody see this right here? Yes? No? Can?
Mhm.
Cool. So if you want to move up quickly in your contract level, this is a great way to do it. And you can do it through Fast Start or you can do it through leads. It doesn't matter. But this is what we put together so that we can get you to 85% as quickly as possible. Which just means you're making more money per sale, right? And you're also not going to need, once you get to this point, you're not going to need as much support either, right? That's why it's a business. You're muted, Michelle. What'd you say?
She's saying she can't see anything, but I can see it. You got to swipe left or right
Okay.
on
Yeah.
your iPad.
So everybody else can see it?
Can you see it, Mike? Katie?
Yeah, I can see it.
Spreadsheet? Okay. So list of names is just people in your contact list that we can call and ask and say, hey, we're hiring. Are you interested or not interested? That's it. We're not there to convince them of anything. And then obviously this is what it is, $100 for 1 week. So whether that be leads or contacts, doesn't matter. $100 for 2 weeks, first non-controlled app. 10 appointments booked. Huh? So a non-controlled app would be a application that you issued on someone that's not in your direct family. So a friend, a coworker, a lead, just someone who's not a brother, sister, parent, cousin, like related, if that makes sense. And then here, 10 appointments, 20 appointments. Now, past 85, there's production, either team volume or personal sales that'll get you higher than 85 after this. But I just wanted to show this going into the new year because this is a simple way to get your commission level higher. And you can do it within like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if not faster. So, yeah, so that's what I've got. And the fast start thing, I'm putting a lot of emphasis on that because it works and it helps newer people get trained quickly. So again, you can start with leads. we can train you on that. It's just what I've found is it's going to take a little bit longer for you to turn your commission around, which is fine. I mean, you'll learn, but the fast start pretty much,
Invest a lot more.
you have to invest more money and more time that way. So does anybody have any questions,
I was just going to mention.
concerns, comments?
I was just going to mention that maybe, we've got a few really good examples of how that happened. I know Jeremy is
Mhm.
working with some folks in his group. And you might want to just expand on that, just kind of give a little bit of a.
Yeah. So one guy that Jeremy is helping, he's been here I think now he's been here maybe 6 months, but when he originally met with, it was a friend of his they met with, and they did a virtual meeting, and the guy just asked a ton of questions. Jeremy said, "This is what we do." And the guy was like, "Well, I've never heard it explained that way. And I do have a retirement account, and I'm not really happy with how it's performing. I'm not ready to do anything right now. So follow up with me, a few months." Well, they followed up, and the guy ended up moving like 400, 500,000, which is a huge commission for this guy. And I mean, the commission is secondary. The guy was in a better account and wasn't going to lose anything in his income in retirement, and saves on some fees and taxes in the process, right? And now this new guy that's only been here 6 months just made like a $20,000 paycheck, if not more.
And then they split it. So maybe
And I think they split it, but still, like 10 grand, that's a pretty big paycheck off of one client.
The new guy didn't do any work. Jeremy
No, he
did all
didn't.
the
He did
work.
no work.
Oh,
Yeah, Jeremy did all the work, and the guy got paid because it was the guy knew whoever they were meeting with. And that's all he did. Say, "Hey, you need to ask Jeremy a bunch of questions. Our job is for me to get training." And that's what it turned into. So, and there's other stories. I mean, there's stories of when I started that way, that, because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I utilized, other people that were more skilled than me to help. So it's out there, and people need help, and what we have does really help people. We work with the best companies. They're all A-rated, So
I have a quick question, Jonathan.
yeah.
Is anything changed in I guess the promotion in your, your percentage status, and if you have gotten up, say I got up to 85%, and last year, the end of the year wasn't my best, do you get demoted, or how's that work?
No. Once you reach a level, that's where you stay.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Well, that's probably a good question for the new people too. See if there's a difference.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
You too. But yeah, that's really all I got. The more we put our energy on the basics going through the year, the more simple things are going to be, and the more money that we're going to make, and the more people we're going to help. Because it revolves around the basics. So hopefully that's encouraging. And it's encouraging to me because, like, I can just scale it, And I'm still learning stuff. I've been doing it 7 years almost. So, but yeah, Jeff Bright's going to jump on here in a minute. So I don't know, were you on last time, Mike? I don't know if you were or not.
With Jeff?
Yeah.
No, I think I was on the first meeting, but I think I had to get off for the second one. I missed dinner, so I had to go.
Gotcha. So you have a pretty general idea of what he's doing with the team?
He's doing a sales.
Yeah. So basically, just as a refresher, he's working with people that want to turn in business weekly, specifically one app per week minimum. Does that make sense? So he's working with people that are like, hey, I want to turn something in once a week. And he's just asking us our numbers for the entire team, whether that's 1, 2, 3, whatever the number is, and then working with us to increase that essentially from week to week. So, and there he is, the man of the hour. Welcome, Jeff.
He's muted.
You're muted. I can't hear you.
I'm muted. I was muted. I'm sorry. Okay.
You're good.
So Pam's getting on, and so have you got any new people since the last list we've got? We had let's see, we had you and Megan, and we had these are the people we've got on here. I don't know if we need to take some of them off or not, Jonathan.
Okay.
Because it's been a while. Juanita Bowen.
Leave her on.
Leave her on. Kathy Williams. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Katie. She goes by Katie.
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 Okay. All right. And then Melissa.
You can take her off. Melissa. Yeah.
Sharon Wells Farmer.
I don't know. What do you want to do, Michelle? Leave her on?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, leave her.
Okay. Stephanie Prentice.
Yes.
Okay. Santiago Gonzalez.
No.
Take off. Michael Smith.
Can leave him.
Olivia Castillo.
Can leave her.
And Jeff Adcock.
Yep. Leave him.
Okay.
And then
Do
we've
we have-
got Mike
ones?
Scott. Mike Scott is on. He was briefly on your initial call. So you can add him. I know
Mike.
Mike Scott.
Okay. All right.
Doesn't work for Dunder Mifflin, but he's cool, dude.
All right. So is there anybody else new on here tonight?
Just Mike, but he, like I said, he was on briefly, so I was just giving him a refresher of what you're doing with us. So he has a good idea.
So he doesn't have a 3 number assigned to him. Not yet.
Not yet. Mm-mm.
So I need to like explain that to him real quick. So since we talked last, people, I've been doing this since May now. So what I'm seeing is these patterns where people are like settling in for a long winter's nap on their first number. They're not even getting a sniff of their second number. And that's not what this was designed, is to be comfortable in your minimum. So I'm going to change my description of the 3 numbers, the order in which I do it, slightly make a slight change. And I'm going to use Mike Scott, he's on the call, right? I'm going to use him as a guinea pig. And
Yeah.
I'm going to re-explain it. And Mike, you won't know the difference because you didn't hear the first explanation, I don't think. So here we go. Ready for your explanation, Mike?
Let's go.
All right. So I'm gonna take Bill Krause's advice from another group, and I'm not letting you pick your numbers. I'm gonna pick them for you, and then you can change them as you start to prove yourself. So I'm gonna say your 3 numbers is 1, 3, and 5. That's what I'm committing you to. 1, 3, and 5. So 3 is the second number, And let's concentrate on that first. Let's look at the second number because that's the most important number for you right now. The second number, 3, is 3 apps submitted a week, 12 a month. In the next 6 months, I'd like you to consistently, with your eyes blindfolded and your hands tied behind your back, be able to hit 3 a week, 12 a month, no problem in the next 6 months. That's your 6-month goal. That'd be about $5,000 a month. Now, that's your need to number. That's what you need to do to make this worth your time and to pay your bills. You need to try to hit that second number. Now, you may ask me, what about the number to the left, that first number? That first number is a 1, and that is put there only to keep you honest when you have a bad week. The stars don't align for you, distractions everywhere, dysfunction is everywhere, and you have a bad week. Are you going on vacation or something? You at least have to do 1 a week as a bare minimum. And then the number to your right of the 3 is a 5. That's what you want to try to shoot for a year from now. Try to do at least 5 a week, 20 a month. That'll be about $10,000 a month. That's life-changing. Now, do you like those 3 numbers, or what is your track record? I mean, how many apps have you ever written in a week?
I am brand new, so none.
None. So 135 is a great beginning. So that's what I like to start people off at, 135. Now, there's some people on this call, or some of the heavyweights on this call, they're not going to do a 135 because they got a better track record. They've been doing this a while. Michelle is a 357. 357. Jonathan is a 3710. Megan is a 258. So yes, we could. Stephanie is a 246. Now here's what I'm talking about, Mike. When I do the 3 numbers, guess what people start to gather with their effort? They only stick to the first number. You notice I started you off looking at the second number. That first number is just when you have a bad week. Most people are hovering around 1 app a week when they should be trying to do 3 apps a week. That's just your bumper guard to keep your ball from going in the gutter. That's what 1 is. It's not to be celebrated. It's just your minimum. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Maybe I did a better job of explaining it this time. What do you think, Jonathan?
I think it's great, Jeff. I like it.
Yeah, I started with the second number and worked my way out, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got a lot of people doing 1 a week, 4 a month. I've got the multitudes doing that. And that matters too. That matters too.
Yeah.
But 4 a month ain't going to change your life. $1,500 a month is not going to, unless you're doing this as a side hustle. I don't see how $1,500 is going to pay your bills. I really don't. But at least it's a start. So is Michelle on the call tonight?
Yeah, she is.
She is. Okay.
She walked away
I
for a
had to
second.
pop out for a minute. I'm COVID positive now.
COVID positive.
COVID positive plus leukemia.
Yeah, cancer
Hmm.
wasn't.
Still wrote 6 apps this week. Just
You wrote
saying.
6? You're just saying you wrote, yeah, just saying. Yeah. Yeah, that's,
And the only way I can have therapy is to talk to my customers. So that's my therapy. So
well, Michelle, it goes without saying that that's impressive. So Mike, let's use Michelle as an example here. She wrote 6. Her first number, Mike, is a 3. So I'm also keeping a team score. So Michelle just got us a +3 because she went 3 over her minimum. Does that make sense, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. All right. And I'm only doing that to guilt you into not letting the team down. I'm just letting you know. I may be a con artist, but I'm a transparent con artist. So I'm letting you know that I'm trying to con you into writing business. It's pretty sad that I have to trick you into writing business. But all right, so let's look at the rest of these people, Mike, see what they say they did. So Jonathan, what did you do for the week?
I had 4.
4. So he did 4. He's supposed to do at least 3. So that's a +1 for the team. What did Megan do?
I did 3.
You did 3, and she's supposed to do 2. So she's a +1. Who else is on the call?
Katie and Stephanie.
Hey, Jeff. I had
Katie, what?
I had 5
Yeah.
apps.
5. See, and she was only supposed to a minimum of 2. She did a +3 for the team. That's awesome. Awesome. And Stephanie, what'd you do?
Hey, Jeff.
Hey,
I can tell you, I saw over 150 clients a day, but they just weren't with the insurance business. So I'm in the negative numbers. I've done 0 this week.
oh, so okay, 0. So,
Yeah.
so 2. See, Mike, 2 is her number, is her minimum. That's her.
Yeah.
That's her. That's what she has to do a week, no matter what. And she didn't, so she's a -2. -2. So you see how
There's that example.
It's a good. You got to have all these examples so you can get it. So we did. I'm looking at it, Mike. We did +6, 7, 8 minus the 2. We're a +6. We're a +6 for the team for this group. Which it's a small group, and we want to grow this group, right? What have y'all heard me talk about the concept? I know Megan has. Megan, I haven't talked to them about the concept of what a successful team looks like when we're growing it, called the fat middle. Mike Alleman, have you ever heard me talk about the fat middle concept?
I don't think I have.
So most of my calls go like this, and we do about 6 or 7 a day, me and Pam. They got a few people at the top doing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 a week. Then we got a bunch at the bottom doing 0s and 1s and nothing in between. We're top heavy, bottom heavy. What I would rather see is a fat middle of people doing 3, 4, and 5. The reason for that is if I can get a fat middle, the top of my fat middle pushes the ones at the top to stay at the top, and the bottom of my fat middle is like a vacuum cleaner, and it pulls the 0s and 1s into the middle. That's how you sustain what we're trying to do here, is to have a fat middle. Don't have it. I want a bell-shaped curve. I don't want it to be 2 bell-shaped curves and flat in the middle. I'm talking your language now, right, Mike? I was trying to talk beaver language. That's the best I can do with the bell-shaped curve. Michelle, does that make sense? The fat middle?
Yes, it does. Brings everybody else up.
Plus, a fat middle in lean times is what's going to get you by lean times. So I right now we've got a good little middle going on here with 3, 4, and 5 with Megan, Jonathan, and Katie. And then we got Michelle is our top person, and we've got Stephanie down here at the bottom. What I'd like to do is when we bring new people in and they start hitting their minimum of 1, I want them to get into that middle as quick as we can get them sucked into that middle and build that middle. It will sustain us longer than a few people at the top and a few people at the bottom. That's just my little fat middle theory. That's how I've grown every team that I've ever dealt with, not in insurance, but other teams. So now yes.
Hey, and Jeff, and just one more thing I wanted to mention. Out of the last 92 days of the year, October through December, I have been inpatient or outpatient 62 out of those 92 days, and still managing to write business.
Yeah.
I just thought you might want to know.
I don't know what to, after I hear all the excuses that people, I mean, I'm hearing a lot of excuses now. Yeah, I have noticed that, Michelle, I mean, I don't know what I know what your secret is, what your attitude is like. I just don't know strategically. If you were to speak on all my calls, let's just say to my bottom people, not my middle people, but my bottom people that are doing zeros and ones. When you're writing, okay, let's just tell people on the call this, and I'd like to know this. The 6 that you wrote, what did you write exactly? What kind of policies are you writing?
This week it was cancer plans,
Okay. All right.
life insurance. Mostly right now it's cancer and life insurance.
Was it always cancer plans, or is that something new that you've been writing?
No, it is new because I tell everybody about it because I'm passionate about it.
Right.
Because I just went through it and I'm dealing with it. And it's real.
And who is the best carrier for the cancer plan?
Well, if they don't have any height weight issues, Mutual of Omaha,
Okay.
best carrier.
Okay. And when you do a whole life policy, you sell a lot of whole life policies. Who's your carrier of choice?
It just depends on their health. So CFG is a carrier of choice, CVS, Mutual of Omaha, Foresters for the whole life.
How do you feel about, I mean, I just got off 2 calls that we're talking about this. How do you feel about, I've got a bunch of people now writing IULs for children. Gustavo, he's on Andy Riddle's team. He just wrote an IUL. I think it was Fidelity. He wrote an IUL for a child. I think they were like 4 years old, and $60 a month. The kid's going to have at age 65, if they don't touch it, $816,000 tax free. I mean, I'm trying to wrap my mind around why we don't write a lot of those.
Yeah. People just aren't trained. We need to talk about it more because I do write them. They're a little bit more involved. You got to get the application completed. You got to get that e-app completed. It's not as simple as a child whole life policy application.
Now, I'm glad you brought the whole life part. And so somebody brought up tonight, Beth Ireland on Terry Edwards' team, brought up the fact that you should never walk out of a house, even if they don't want anything, you should be able to sell them a whole life product. I think it's Mutual of Omaha. It's easy. Don't require social security numbers. It's not a lot of things you have to do. And you can write one for $5 that'll cover the kid for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. I don't know why that should be like a basic standard thing that everybody that I have people, Michelle, walking out of homes empty handed. When I'm hearing about a product like that, how do you not be able to sell that?
How do you not sell it? That's a good question.
Yeah. See, I used to not be able to ask you these questions, Michelle, in the past because I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, but I'm now dangerous because I understand this now. For the first time, Michelle, I understand it a whole lot better than I ever did.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
And I'm more perplexed than I ever was because now I know. And these products, I'm trying to get people on these calls passionate about these products because some of these products are life-changing. I know y'all used to say, well, we're making a difference. We're helping families. I thought that was like a catchphrase, but it's not a catchphrase.
No, it's a real thing in your heart. Like when I go to MD Anderson
Mhm.
and I walk around the halls, I mean, everything that they stand for, they have written on their walls, how they're supposed to behave, what they do. It just makes, and then some of the stories from the patients. Anyway, it just makes you cry. And you realize that what they do, every single person there matters in saving someone's life. And we are doing the exact same thing. It's just in a different product. We may not be saving their life, but we're helping them financially if they get into a bad situation.
Mhm.
And I send all my customers my blog. I send them my contact card. And then they read the blog and then they're like, oh my God, I didn't know what you've been going through. And now it becomes real to them. So however you can make things real to people is you're going to be able to sell and give. That's how you give value, because you give something and you show something a part of yourself. I'll send you the blog, Jeff.
Yeah, send me the blog. I'd like to see it. Because I like to show the people that I'm trying to help that are hovering around one app a week and can't get off one app a week. I need them to watch the blog also, if that's okay with you.
That's fine. I've been in the hospital. I work on my computer in the hospital when I'm in chemo. If I feel good enough, I just work when I feel good enough. I have to be able to do that. It keeps my mind off my problems.
Yes, I could see that. I could see that.
And I would say this, Jeff, that, because I'm around her 24 hours a day, is that she's always saying things like, did you know we also do this? We do accidentals. We can do children's. We can do. She's just always making sure. I think this is where people get off the one app. I know when I was way back in the day and I was out in the field, I was just happy to get somebody to sign something and evacuate before I messed it up. And I think that was the one app wonder scenario. And if you have stories like, this is where, like Michelle's story is a story that people can use, because we've gotten some cash even from our regular insurance policies, for living benefits that we never thought we would need. Who knew? So, and we're working on some others, and cancer plans, who knew? I remember when my mom and dad were going through their cancer, we were going through their, the old fire boxes in the closet. That's where people kept their important papers now. Then,
Yeah, right.
The big one, and we'd be going through there and see, oh, here's a policy that dad had, a cancer policy, and you call and it was no longer in force, and I think people need to hear that there are, like even things with COVID, if someone dies. I had a friend from high school, their aunt died yesterday from COVID, and you just go like, that's something that, is unexpected. They need an ability to be able to pay for their final expenses, at least. Had another friend unexpectedly died Christmas Day, and they've got a GoFundMe, that they spun up to kind of help. That's it's being able to me, my best sales when I was able to communicate, connect to people, not just the concept, like, here's, one of my managers here, is going through a battle with COVID. Let me tell you what she's done and what some of these products have done for her. You can do that as an add-on all the time.
Yeah, I'm trying to get these people to see how relevant what they're doing is, to light a fire underneath them. What we need is, y'all plan on, inviting new people to the call. Mike's on here tonight. Mike, I mean, your first impressions of hearing about all these different products. I mean, do you know what a whole life policy is for a child? Have you ever heard of that? Do you know what an IUL is for a child? Have you ever heard of that before?
So I think that's where I'm at on my training, is to get like more informed on what products that we do have and stuff. I know I just got my license, and now I'm going through the agent boot camp. And so now I'm kind of getting like what products that we do have and whatnot. I know John was talking about it earlier that I need to do the Fast Start program. And I think that's my next step. I'm going through the agent boot camp one more time because I took kind of some time off for the holidays and stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm going through camp one more time this week. And I think by the end of the week, I will we'll get on that program, and then I'll more acclimate products.
I don't want to overwhelm you, and I don't want you to, have to think you have to learn everything, but we're just kind of highlighting some of the ones that are important to us. And I don't know. I mean, Michelle's story and what she has to say. If that don't fire you up about that product and what that can do for somebody, because like Mike said, who knew? And I'm also passionate about this lady that's in Florida. I don't know her name. I know she's in the Riddle organization, and all she does is she goes to these neighborhoods that are impoverished into the projects, and she sells nothing but IULs for children. That's all she does. And she doesn't need the money. She's retired. She has a good retirement. She's only doing this insurance thing because she thinks it's the only way to rid ourselves of poverty, to get rid of poverty. And she thinks that if she can get everybody that she knows in her neighborhoods covered, her kids, their kids with IULs, then she knows that poverty will go away for those kids. It's a 20-year progression. It will not happen overnight, but I'm passionate about that. I know, gosh, this guy tonight said a $60 a month policy on an IUL for a kid, even though it's a very complicated table to read and learn, a $60 a month premium. When that kid turns 65, Mike, will get $816,000 tax free. Now, I don't know, that don't mean nothing to you right now, but I'm going to turn 60, and I'm 5 years away from 65. And I'm sitting there thinking, I wished I could go back in time and have my parents write a policy when I was a little toddler on me for $60 a month, and that I would have $816 waiting on me in 5 years. I'd be pretty daggum fired up about that. And not only can you have that money waiting on you, you can borrow from that money when you want to go to college and that kid wants to go to college. You can borrow from that policy. I don't know if you've heard this before, Michelle, but somebody told me that life insurance, whole life, is you do that so that when you're preparing to die one day, like we all will. But IULs is when you're preparing to live.
It's the infinite banking product.
Do you write a lot of them, Megan? A lot of IULs?
Can I interrupt real quick, guys? So just to say, I am passionate about it too, but I got my daughter one at 15 days old, and when she's 70, she'll have $4,193 and a whole lot more change. $4 million when she's 70.
That's just insane to me. I don't think we all understand. I mean, the people we're going to be gathering in January with some people, and I bet you most of the room don't know what an IUL for a child is. Sadly, I bet you a lot of them don't know the power of a whole life policy with Mutual of Omaha for a kid. Sometimes the basics escape some of our agents. Nobody should walk out of a home empty-handed. We got these great products. That's my message for tonight that I've learned today. I've learned a lot today, people talking about all the products and how passionate they are. And this is a great call to end that on. Hey, what did I talk about so long ago? I went over the animals with you guys, right?
You better talk with your voice.
Yes. Yeah. You went over the animals with us, and then you were going to, I believe, do a dial session, and you were going to act as each animal.
Yeah, I haven't done that, have I?
So
I haven't done that.
we don't have to do that tonight, but I think that was the last part.
I'll tell you what I would prefer to do. This is what I prefer to do about that. I'd like for you to have more than Mike on the call, because this is going to, when I do this, it's going to be very beneficial. We're going to have a lot of critiquing to do afterwards. And Mike is going to learn, and whoever else that you can get that's brand new, get some people. So I'll tell you what it does. It takes the fear out of dialing after we do it.
Right.
The anxiety of dialing completely leaves. The way I do this completely remove. I mean, Pam can speak to it. I mean, it's insane to watch. I mean, Pam, wouldn't you say it's kind of crazy to watch?
Yes, sometimes you're relentless. So
Well, yeah. When I become the lion, I really become. I'm tricky when I'm the otter. I'm going to do some things that y'all have never, ever heard on the telephone. But that's good, because I'm going to try to take you down these rabbit holes. But I think I'd like to try this with you, Jonathan. I'd like to try it with you, Megan, with you, Katie, with you, Stephanie. I got 4 different examples I can do. But Mike will benefit greatly, Mike Scott, when he watches this. But I prefer to have more Mike Scotts on the call. Is that a fair deal to make?
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a good thing. We'll make sure to have more new on next week for sure.
Yeah, because I enjoy doing them. I just don't want to do them and not have the benefit of other people. So have I set y'all up for a series that I want to do where I'm talking about on these other calls how not to procrastinate? It's the 4 things you can do not to procrastinate, to defeat the 4 lies of procrastination. I've got the 4 ways to get a person moving really quick and get them motivated really quick. I've got all these series, but have I done the setup called red light, green light? Did I do that already?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. So let's start.
But we can state it one more time if you want.
Oh, I don't know if I can go through that again, because I have
You don't have to go through it. Just like, so green light people do not think anyone owes them anything.
That's right.
They do not, they believe that life is not fair.
That's right.
And what was the third one? It's 3 of them, right?
They don't think anybody is put on this earth to make them happy.
Right. And then red light people think the opposite.
Yeah, they think people owes them things. They think people were put on this earth to be their cruise director, and they think that life is supposed to be fair. Right. All right. So this whole series that I'm doing is trying to get you to think like a green light person and not like a red light person, because I do not think red light people will do well in this business. I just don't. I think they suck the energy out of a room. I think they're good at that. I think they're good at making people walk on eggshells. I think they're good at that. I think they're good at playing the victim. I think they're good at blaming. I think they're good at making excuses. They're real good at that.
Mm-hmm.
But so let me do. If I can do this quickly. How to avoid procrastination. All right, I'll do that one tonight real quick. I got 4 lies that procrastination whispers in your ear, and how to combat those lies and smother those lies. Okay, so here's the first lie, and it's almost like a 3-part lie that it tells you. It tells you, procrastination tells you, whatever you're doing is too hard, it's too scary, and it's too painful. One of those 3: too hard, too scary, too painful. And it's basically saying it's too hard, too scary, too painful to move forward. It's too hard, too scary, too painful to take initiative, to make a change, to take advantage of an opportunity. Now, I'm thinking about dials, I'm using that as my context here. Why do you think people don't dial on a regular basis? Do you think they think it's too hard, too scary, or too painful?
I would say it's a combination of the three.
Painful. Painful.
Painful. Painful. Because it sure ain't hard. If you think it's hard, well, I need to take you on a field trip to some places and show you what hard work looks like. Because dialing ain't hard.
Emotion people don't want to be hung up on. They get their little feelings hurt real easily.
That's exactly what it is, Michelle. The pain of rejection is why they don't do it. It's not that it's scary. Oh, it's scary to dial a number you don't know and talk to somebody you don't know. That's not what it is. Initially, maybe a little bit scary, but that scary goes away. The pain is why they eventually put it on the back burner and find everything else to do but dial. They'll go out and knock on doors before they'll dial. They'll go out and call current clients before they'll dial. They'll do everything they can but dial because it's too painful. Now, here is my coping skill. Let's call it a coping skill for that lie. Now, Napoleon said this: nothing is more difficult, therefore more precious, than being able to decide. Now, think about what he just said. He said that a long time ago. Here's what he's saying is, making a decision is the first step that you must face. So here's my advice about deciding. Do the one thing and then do one thing. If you want to make procrastination run away, do the one thing that Napoleon's talking about. Decide that you want to make a change. Decide that you want to move forward. Decide you want to take initiative. Decide that you want to take advantage of an opportunity. Decide. Then do one thing. Meaning, maybe you're supposed to do 300 dials today. Maybe just try to think about doing them in increments of 50. Just try to do 50. Do one thing. Get yourself moving. Body's in motion, stay in motion. So do the one thing, decide, and then do one thing. Bite off small pieces of it. That's how you defeat this lie of hard, scary, and painful. All right, so the second lie, delaying it will make you feel better. Whatever it is, delaying it will make you feel better. Robespierre, a French philosopher that I kind of dabbled in a little bit, he said, upon deciding and making that decision, be quick to act. Do not let a gap form between your decision to act and actually acting. So here is my coping skill, which is a little controversial. You create urgency with consequence. People are not going to have a fire lit under their butt unless there's a consequence that started that fire. It's just impossible. Now, a good consequence creates urgency. But not only does it create urgency, what comes out of that urgency is your drive to stay in the fight. But it first starts with consequence. But consequence doesn't happen unless you fear the consequence. Now, you don't have to fear it. You can actually look forward to it because some consequences are rewards. So it can be a reward or punishment. Which whenever you want to make it, it can be a reward or a punishment. And sometimes the consequence being a reward actually creates more urgency if you can reward yourself with something that you look forward to. So you create urgency with consequence, and that's how you combat the lie of delaying it makes you feel better. All right, third lie. Doing it right away is a punishment. Here's a great quote about that. Procrastination means paying twice the price when you eventually must act. I go back to a commercial. Now, Mike and Michelle are not as old as me. They might have been too young to remember this commercial when it first came out. There was a commercial where this mechanic is looking up at this car that he's got up on the rack, and he's got an oil filter in his hand, and it's just gunky looking, terrible. And he said, if they would have changed their oil every 3,000 or 4,000 miles, I wouldn't have to do an overhaul on this engine today. You can pay me now or pay me later. Change your oil filter regularly, or you can wait till it gets to this shape and pay me later. So I like that quote. Procrastination means paying twice the price when you eventually must act. Don't put off the eventual. Done is better than perfect is the coping skill. Done is better than perfect. Sometimes procrastination uses your need to make things perfect. You're looking for the perfect storm to get started. When I learn all the products, I'll get started. When I feel better, I'll get started. Getting stuff done. This is the lion that is talking here, Michelle, because lions don't have to win pretty. Done is better than pretty. Done is better than perfect. Or George Orwell, the author of Animal Farm, 1984, he wrote, the essence of being human is when one doesn't have to seek perfection in everything they do. Completion over perfection is what I'm talking about. That's the combating of that lie. All right. The last lie, if you wait, it will go away. Now, I have a little bit of issue with this lie because I actually kind of like this lie a little bit in this way. I've had a lot of bosses in my time. I got one now. All right. And I'm not mentioning names. I'm just saying I've had a lot of bosses. Y'all can pick which ones I'm talking about. But I had 4 different presidents at the college. And then I had a boss at the temp agency, and I got one now at the Alliance. And sometimes I used to use this lie to my advantage because one of the presidents, or 2 of the presidents that I worked for, they were getting up in age. When I say up in age, they were pushing 68. That used to sound old until I'm now going to turn 60, but they actually looked really old and they acted old. So I don't consider myself like in that category, but they were getting kind of Alzheimer's. So every time they would tell me to do something drastic change they wanted me to make, I'd go back to my administrative assistant and I'd tell her, Sheila, you know what Dr. Gatewood just said? She goes, no, he wants us to start doing blah, blah, blah. She goes, oh God, we'll have to change everything. We just had all that stuff printed. We're going to have to change all that. I'm like, hold your horses here. If you wait, it'll go away. And it did. He forgot that he told me in 2 days. And I didn't change anything. I'm not advocating that. I'm just trying to be funny right now. So I do believe that the most important things that you need to do, you can't wait on. Waiting is not a good strategy. It will not go away. If it's important and it needs to be done, it will not go away. So here's the coping skill for that. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait from a sign from above. Don't wait until the stars align. Don't wait till you feel good. Don't wait, because if you wait, that space between now and then is called anxiety. Don't wait. Move on it. The story that I tell about this, and Michelle and Mike, have y'all ever heard me tell about my dad's story in Sunday school where he almost got kicked out of the church for telling the story, but I remember being in his Sunday school class, which is one of the worst things you can ever be in, is let your dad be your Sunday school teacher. But he used to tell this story about the devils in hell. Have you ever heard me tell this story, Michelle or Mike?
I don't think so, but I can't wait.
Okay. It kind of like puts a cherry on the top of what we're talking about here. And then we end this call tonight. So my dad, he hated procrastination. He was not a procrastinator. He was like, I said, we should go somewhere. When are we going? We're going now. I mean, he wanted to do it right then. And as he got older and he got closer into his mid 70s, he was really bad about the urgency of doing stuff. So he used to tell, and I remember as an 8-year-old kid listening to the story and scaring the crap out of me and my other classmates at Sunday school. And parents would call the house and say, Henry, why did you tell this god awful story to my kids? Well, this story has sustained me through a lot of things. So he used to say that devils in hell got together and they would have a weekly board meeting. And Lucifer was the head of the board. So he would call the meeting to order with the gavel. And he was looking for ideas on how to defeat heaven. Because heaven was gaining too many souls. And heaven was heaven was kicking hell's butt. And so they wanted to do a different strategy so they could get a few more people down below. All right. So they brainstormed and they came up with the usual suspects like, how about famine? How about tornadoes, hurricanes? And if my dad was, alive today, he would change the story and say, how about terrorist acts and just, tragedies of all kinds. And Lucifer got very frustrated, started banging his gavel. And he goes, I've heard these ideas. I'm sick of hearing these ideas. None of them work. They bounce back every single time. It makes them stronger. And this devil in the back of the room, who was the accountant, he was the bean counter, he kept the books for hell. He was a beaver, by the way, Mike. He's sitting in the back. And I don't know why my dad made this man, his name was Brad. I think my dad didn't like this man named Brad, so he made Brad this character in his story. So Brad's in the back, and Brad got his little glasses on, and he's counting the numbers. And he raises his hand and says, I've got a suggestion. All the devils boo him and say, we don't want to hear from an accountant. You don't have any good ideas. And Lucifer said, no. I want to hear from Brad. I'm tired of y'all's ideas. Let's hear what Brad said. Brad said, I've got one strategy, and it's a one-word strategy, and it will keep them from beating us, and we'll defeat them every single time. All we have to do is whisper this one word in their ear, and we'll gain all the souls to hell. Guess what that one word was? Wait. Just tell them to wait and put off their salvation to another day. Put off dialing to another day. Put off telling somebody you love and you care about to another day. Just wait. And that story always stayed with me for my whole life. My daddy would always tell me, Jeffrey, don't let Brad be right about your life. Don't wait. Don't let Brad be right. And I always remembered that. So that kind of puts a period on tonight's topic about procrastination. I hope y'all enjoyed that.
I'm going to get t-shirts. Don't be Brad.
Don't be Brad. Well, maybe he would use Brandon now, Yeah. Probably use Brandon. So next week, y'all have some people on the call. I'll become, I think Michelle wants to see me become a lion. I'll become a lion client, an otter client. I'm really good at the otter client, Michelle. And I'll become the golden and the beaver, Mike. I'll become a beaver client.
This sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Going to be fun. Going to be fun.
And that's it's fun and learning and getting inspired. So, and Mike Scott, we appreciate you being on the call, man. Let's get some inspiration. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Mike. And thank you, Jeff, for all of your input.
You're welcome. Good seeing you, Michelle. You take care of yourself. I look forward to seeing you next week. And Mike Scott, I hope you enjoyed that. It's nice to meet you, buddy.
Yep. I love stories too. So good story.
All right. Well, I got plenty of stories.
All right.
All right. Thank you,
Y'all
Jeff.
take care. Y'all have a good night.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.